Hi, this is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, the founder of the highest paid part-time job in the world options trading program. And I'm very happy and enthusiastic to bring you an interview from one of the former students of the highest paid part-time job in the world. This student has been able to create a massive amount of success in the markets as an options trader. And what they're going to do in this interview is they're going to really give you their story and give you their testimony about how they got into the markets, what made them want to go ahead and choose to take the highest paid part-time job in the world, what are some of the trials and tribulations that they went through, and then how they were able to move past those and get the amount of success that they're currently experiencing today. If you are somebody that's in the options market, you're not having the success that you desire, you're thinking about maybe you want to get into the markets, you're thinking about maybe options trading, I think that this interview can be very, very beneficial to you. And I think that there's going to be a lot of benefits that you're going to receive from just sitting down and paying attention to this interview. This is going to be a two-part interview. We cut it in half because it's kind of long, but I really think that you can get a lot of value from it if you sit down and listen to it and receive the testimony and the story of this particular person. So what I want to do is we're going to go ahead and roll into the interview. If you have any questions, reach out to me later or hit me up in the comments. But I really think that if you've ever thought about going into the options market and you've considered it, but you weren't really sure about whether or not you could get the success that you desire, this interview is going to be something that you don't want to miss out on. So let's go ahead and get into it. What got you involved in the markets from the beginning?
Well, I think I always kind of had a curiosity about it. Even like as a kid, one of my favorite movies of all time was Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd in it. And I just kind of always was like, man, one day I'm going to learn how to do that, and I just always would watch it on TV, and it would kind of just seem boring. It was a lot of, tickers and names. A lot of them I didn't know, but it was just kind of scrolling across real fast. But I just always knew that's where the money was at. So one day I was playing around on my phone, and I saw an app that was called Interactive Brokers, and that's when I first started paper trading different stocks. I really didn't know what I was doing, but it kind of was a good way to get started, get my feet wet in it. And that was around 2017 when I really started actually doing something about learning the stock market.
Why did you transition from the stock market and then get involved in options trading?
Well, for one thing, I didn't have a lot of money to invest. And when I first really got into it, it was interesting. I took a course called the Abacus. I learned about investing. And I was going through a rough time. I was having a rough patch in my marriage. So I was suddenly down to one income, whereas before we had two. And it was just a lot of things going on at the time. So, I had to pay the program in installments. And now it was like, okay, great. Now I know how to invest, but I don't have no money. I don't know, I came back Coca-Cola and Disney and stuff like that. So I started kind of playing around with the penny stocks, which I do not recommend. But, it was fun. It got my feet wet. I made a little money here and there. But penny stocks are trash. They can sometimes go up or down with no rhyme or reason to it. But one day I started seeing like people posting about options on Facebook, and it seemed like they were really successful, made a lot of money off of it. I said, okay, I got to figure out what this is about. So, but I couldn't afford, all of these courses. They were like in the $5,000 range. And I'm like, man, it's got to be a way for me to figure out how to do this. So I started reading little things going on YouTube and things like that. And then I just jumped out and started trading options on my own. And I was losing a lot of money. So I think one time on Facebook, I had posted like, man, I was trying to trade Uber and I lost a lot of money on that. And I was like, man, I was getting a little discouraged. And you had saw that and you had commented, why don't you let me help you with that? And I was like, okay, you got a course, how much is it? And, to my surprise, it was very, very affordable. It was really a steal. So I was like, okay, whatever, I knew that you were, successful with what I was trying to do. So I was like, okay, I was surprised that you actually offered to help me. I didn't have to ask you. You offered to help me. So I was like, yeah, I definitely want to take you up on that offer. And that's how I got started learning about options.
After I reached out to you, what made you feel like I could help you solve your problem?
Well, for one thing, on your page, it wasn't a whole lot of silly stuff. It was a lot of business related things. And really, I mean, for the price, I was just like, you can't go wrong with that. If you want to help me, I'm definitely going to take this offer. And I didn't really even know you that well, honestly. I just kind of went on faith. I was just like, he knows what he's doing. I saw that you had posted different things on trading and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, he knows more than I do. I really didn't know who you were at the time, but I knew that, you had different businesses. You were talking a lot about marketing, more so back then. And so, I just kind of took it on faith, honestly. I just, but once I did, I was glad that I did because, at the time, I didn't even know I was your first student. Like, I had thought that, you had been doing this before because it was so thorough. It was like tons of resources. I really had to do my homework. I'm thinking, okay, you're going to kind of show me, yeah, this is what this means, this is what this means, and it was going to be like that. It was a 3-day, really intensive course. And it really kind of taught me how to be a critical thinker and not just go off of, okay, the news just showed something on this company. Well, let me see, I think it's going to go up. Let me get a call. I really learned how to look on the chart, how to look on in the details of the company, of the business, and how they're run, and really kind of see the narrative of what's going on at that particular time with that, ticker. And then I could make a more educated decision. And also, a lot of things that I learned about were so crucial to helping me with really sticking with it. And especially, one of your main things is risk management and and having a trading plan going in. So before you just jump on something, you got to have a plan. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to get out of this? Where do you want to enter? Where do you want to exit? And that helped me out a lot because before I would just buy something, because I think it's going to go up. And a lot of times, sometimes it would go up, but by the time it went up, I'm still negative. And I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know anything about the Greeks. I didn't know anything about spread. And I was just, losing money, just playing around, trying to figure it out on my own. So those things were really helpful to me in the beginning, especially. The other thing that I think was different about your course was it wasn't just teaching me, the skill set of how to trade options. You can pretty much learn that a lot of places, but it taught me psychology, my own psychology, really. It taught me that, how I was trading when I was paper trading, it wasn't necessarily how I was going to trade in real life when there was real money involved. And it taught me about myself because in the markets, you really do meet yourself. I'm a person that likes to be right. I'm a person that I'm really, let's just say frugal, okay? I'm very frugal and I don't like to lose money. I'm not a gambler. So it was hard for me to take a L. So if I was, losing money, I'm just like, I can't take this loss. I'm just gonna hold on and see what happens, And you taught me to stop doing that and to really, it's okay to just take your loss and, you live to trade another day, because a lot of times I was really, honestly, I was about to blow up some accounts because the way that I was trading, especially once I start getting some success, it kind of can go to your head. And, in the beginning, when I was first trading, we were at the tail end of a bull market. So, everything was emerald green, and, it was a lot of fun because I can trade, this ticker, that ticker, and, I was just getting money left and right. I had a hell of a beginner's luck streak. And then all of a sudden, it was just like a hiccup just happened in the market. It was just like, whoa, what's going on? A lot of, all of a sudden, the bubble started to kind of pop. And the next week it'll be okay. It just kind of carry on. And then in the next week, we kind of got another arrhythmia again in the market. And I started noticing that. And one time I got caught. I was in like a 215 call option for Visa. And I remember all of a sudden that thing went down, and I was just like, oh no. But I started paying attention to the patterns, and I was like, yeah, something's definitely going on. And that was when COVID had first started happening. And it was like little cases here and there popping up in the States. And I was just starting to see like, yeah, this is kind of serious. This is really going to have a big effect on the market. This isn't like swine flu, bird flu, SARS, and everything. At first we were worried about it, and then it kind of just stayed over in Asia. But no, this was really starting to come to roost. And, the market wasn't really prepared for it. A lot of businesses weren't prepared for it. So knowing that, I started, instead of being so heavy on the call side, I started getting a lot of puts. I started researching companies, especially in the travel industry, like, the airlines and the cruise lines. And cases were coming up. People were, getting sick, passing it along on the cruise lines. And I was like, okay. So I bought a few puts on CCL. And I woke up the next morning and I had my first K-Day. I call it a K-Day. So, I made $1,000 that day. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is going to work. I'm going to figure this out. Like, whatever I got to do, I'm going to stick with this. And I continued to, I kept making money. And that really kind of encouraged me, because at first it was like, okay, you can make money in a green market, but at the end of that bull market, what's going to happen? It was a lot of uncertainty. Like, and when the market had a correction, I was ready. And then once the correction kind of turned into a recession, I was ready to navigate that. We flip sometimes from really green days to really bloody red days, and I'm just maneuvering with it. And I've been learning, to adapt to the times. And like before, I would buy a contract and I would hold it, for weeks, sometimes, days at least. And now I kind of become more of a day trader instead of a swing trader, really by accident, because I always thought day trading was really risky, and you couldn't make a lot of money doing that long term. But it just happened to work for me because I was just nervous about holding a lot of things overnight with the way the market has been so volatile. Unless it's like a lead contract that's like way far out. So it's really been teaching me how to navigate whatever the market throws at you, whether, it's up or down or sideways, you know how to go in and get some money.
How did you develop your ability to scalp and day trade options?
Yeah, I think what helped me so much with being a scalper is that I'm kind of risk averse. I don't like losing money, so um, I think in a way that helped me because the way I look at the market, it's like, you go on a loot a store or something. Not that I've ever done that, but if you go on a loot a store and you're not taking your time looking around trying to get whatever you can get. You go in there, you get the TV, you run out. You get the shoes, whatever, you run out, and you get caught. So that's how I was thinking. I'm not trying to overstay my welcome. If I see, especially another thing that helped me so much was really focusing my attention on my Power Five. When you had kind of gave us that suggestion in the group, I was thinking like that sounds kind of boring. Like we want to just trade the same 5 stocks over and over and over again. But I was kind of wilding for a minute. I was trading every ticker, things I didn't know about how they tend to move and things like that. And so I said, okay, let me buckle down and take this advice and see, how it goes. So I picked my Power Five, and that it's changed over time, but it's been mostly SPY, Disney, Apple, Visa, and what else did I say? Oh, AMD. So that's my Power Five. And I just mainly watch those tickers and just kind of see how they tend to move. I've read up on them. That's another thing. I thought that business news was kind of boring. I'm more of a science major, biology, all of that stuff is interesting to me. But business and financial news was just kind of like, it wasn't really exciting. But once I started making money, that was exciting. So I really just dove in and immersed myself with it. I was reading all of those newspapers and Barron's and Wall Street Journal and all of that, and watching CNBC, and just really kind of delving into the market and seeing how different news affects the stocks and things like that. And once I felt comfortable with, seeing a pattern of how a stock tends to move, or seeing how things can affect that particular stock, then I was, more confident in my analysis, and I could be consistently profitable. So when I was trading Visa, Apple, and SPY mainly out of 3 that I trade the most, and I've been having a good deal of success with that because I can see the pattern of how they move, and I pretty much don't get greedy. I get in and I get out. A lot of times it could be 5 minutes, it could be 30 minutes. Rarely do I stay longer than that with a ticker. If I know it's gonna, and one thing I like about SPY is that by being an ETF, it's kind of an aggregate of, a lot of companies that are in the S&P. So you can look at those various companies and see okay, they're having an up day, they're having a down day, the market overall is green or whatever. And you can kind of tell what SPY is going to do. The other thing is I had to stop thinking like a consumer and think more like Wall Street. So for example, if Disney laid off a bunch of people, and in my consumer mind, I'm thinking, that's bad. They must be losing money. They can't afford to keep their people. But in Wall Street mind, that's good. They're balancing their books. They're making sure they, stay profitable. So their stock could actually go up on that news. So in a way, it kind of made me think like a Mr. Burns. I don't know, on The Simpsons, the boss. Just like he didn't care about the little guy. He didn't care about his workers. All he cared about was what made him money. And that's what I felt like Wall Street was doing. A lot of times it was like, oh, the unemployment numbers are up. As long as, consumers are buying goods, people are buying houses, things like that. That's the type of news that can make the market go up, even in the midst of a pandemic. So seeing those patterns, I could kind of tell, the range of where a stock would go. And like I said, I wouldn't get greedy. I would get in. If it moved $1, I can get right out. And even though it just moved $1, if I bought, 5, 10 contracts, I can make a nice amount of money just off of that dollar move. So I wouldn't hang around too long. And that's what kind of ended up accidentally making me a day trader.
I feel. What was your first major obstacle as an options trader, and how did you overcome it?
My first major obstacle was I had a lot of success right off the bat, like right immediately after I took the class. I traded Uber, I traded Rite Aid, I traded a lot of tickers, and I was just, I must have had probably like a almost 2-month winning streak. It was crazy. I was just like, wow, this is too easy. Anybody can do this. And I was trying to tell everybody, like, y'all should get in on this. And I was so excited because, not only am I learning a new skill, I'm making money, and it was just crazy. Like the first time I traded options, the money came so fast, it scared me. I was kind of nervous. It felt wrong. Like, whoa, like, how did I just make $200 in like 10 minutes? And I'm just like, that's more than I'm making a day, a whole day's of work. So after a while, I started chasing that high. And that was something that you talked about too, as far as the psychology, the dopamine response that you get. And, it was a rush. It was like, woo. And so I started just, trading a lot of things. And like I said, I almost blew up my account a couple of times. Luckily, like, how you holding something and like you'll be down a little bit, and like the last day it's about to expire, it'll work out for you. And so then I was like, oh, okay, let me stop, let me calm down, let me, regroup and get back to what he was telling me, because now I'm just, just going too far. I'm just going, crazy with it. So I retook the class, especially you had made it on your new website. So I like retook the class. I took a lot of notes again. And I just kind of slowed down and I said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. When I noticed that my brokerage, like my balance, was getting up to be high, I started kind of being like, oh, it's just $500, it's just $1,000, and so what I started doing was just like shooting that money, transferring it right back to my bank account. So I would make some money, transfer it to my bank account. That way I wouldn't let my brokerage account get over like, 5 G's or whatever. So that way, when I used all my buying power, that was it. No more, you're done. So I had a cash account. So, I wasn't trading on margin. So once, if I traded whatever I was going to trade for that day, that was it. And that helped me a lot too. Because, like I said, once I started really getting hooked on that feeling, I would be looking at my phone all day. I'll be trying to trade something all day, and the market has, depending on the time, it has a different kind of momentum. So, in the morning, that first power hour, things are moving really fast. Then at midday, it kind of slows down a lot. And, I wasn't paying attention to stuff like that. I was just jumping and stuff. And then, I'm hanging around, it goes down, now I'm taking a loss. Whereas when I kind of could tell market sentiment and how the power hours at the beginning and at the end of the day were, I was choosing better timing, and that helped a lot too.